my brother's a college football player, and I'll, like, go out there and see him sometimes, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I would die." Like, I would actually be murdered if one of these men hit me.
Hey, SEC stuff. We are finally starting our playoff series. Right now, we're going into championship games ahead of the college football playoffs, and we are going to be talking about the Big 12 championship game against BYU and Texas Tech. I know you went to BYU,
I
so
did.
are you excited about this game?
Oh, that's a great question. Am I excited about this game? Sure. I don't know. I feel like that's such a loaded question. Everyone's like, "What are your thoughts? Do you think BYU can pull it off?" And the honest truth is like it is very hard to beat the same team twice in the same season. But it has been done and it's been done recently. And Texas Tech is just a freaking good football team. So I am excited that there's a rematch because I do like a rematch. It gives you the chance to like win this one. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous that BYU will be able to or won't be able to pull it off. What are your thoughts?
I have been very impressed with Texas Tech as a football team this season. I think everyone has. I think this is the first time they've gotten into the Big 12 titles since the league was formed, which is
Yeah.
absolutely insane. But I also think it's just kind of awesome to see that NIL is really changing these other programs where people are getting really good teams. I am, how are they going to perform against these bigger conferences is always the issue when they finally get into the playoffs. But, Texas Tech has had just like really just players step up, like Cameron Dickey. He's carried the offense this season. He's had 944 yards and 13 touchdowns, which is number one in the Big 12. And so I just don't see BYU stopping Texas Tech.
No, absolutely not. And the other bottom line for me is you're talking about people who have showed up big for Texas Tech. That's also defensive player Jacob Rodriguez. And BYU has a true freshman quarterback, and the bottom line is just that true freshmen are gonna true freshmen. They just are. They're gonna make mistakes. They're not gonna do it right every single time. It's hard for them to show up on the big stage in the sense that they just haven't been there before. And I know Texas Tech hasn't been there before either, but they already played them. They kind of know what to expect. Um, yeah, it should be interesting. I will say this, it's very cool to see kinda your point about the NIL. It's very cool to see the difference in programs who spent a similar amounts on their NIL. I think that the head coach, for Texas Tech, Joey McGuire, has done a really good job because we know that LSU spent and got a similar recruiting class in the portal, and we can tell how their season went. So, even if programs have the money, it doesn't mean that you don't have to coach anymore.
Mhm.
And it's just been very interesting to see the difference between those two programs and how it played out, who had similar NIL funds and recruiting classes.
Oh,
Um, Go ahead.
oh, you're good. Yeah, I was just gonna say definitely. It's just like you can. I mean, we've seen it with multiple teams this season. You can recruit amazing players, but if you're not coaching the way that you should be coaching, you're not gonna win. Um, but BYU has had, breakout stars as well, like Jack Kelly in linebacker. And I really like BYU's defense and their ground game. So
Yeah, I just don't know that their defense can hold up against the leading the leading pass rusher in the Big 12. I will say if I had to say what I think BYU's advantage is and how they can win this game is special teams. Parker Kingston has popped off this year. He popped off last year. He kind of was found out last year. He's had several, I don't know the amount. I know last game it was 2 against UCF, but he's returned several punts and kickoffs for touchdowns this season. And so if BYU wants to win, they're going to have to be able to steal points that way. Um, I know that they get back their star wide receiver, Chase. Oof, I can't think of his last name. Chase. But I can add it up here. I can't remember. I don't want to butcher it. This week because he sat out last week, but Texas Tech defense is good, and I'm a firm believer in you win football games in the trenches, and I just think that Texas Tech has the advantage there in the trenches.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like Texas Tech has, their balance, their structure there, but they're also just like their front seven. I mean, I'd be scared. I wouldn't want to go on the field personally.
No, 100%, 100. I mean, hey, I my brother's a college football player, and I'll, like, go out there and see him sometimes, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I would die." Like, I would actually be murdered if one of these people men hit me, so just
Yeah,
hysterical.
I
But
always like the thought of like what is you going through your head when you line up against this like player that's like having this breakout season. You know you're about to get just ran over.
no, definitely, I always think about that too. I'm very interested in what you think, like, a score prediction or something would be.
Ooh, I think it's gonna be low because of the defenses. I'm thinking probably like 21-17 Texas Tech winning.
Okay, okay. Um I feel like the hard part for me okay, I'll say this. I think it's closer this time than it was last time. Last time, Texas Tech blew out BYU and won the game 29-7. The advantage this time that BYU has is it's a neutral site game, and BYU fans travel better than any fandom in the country. It's just kind of a fact. So it'll be more like a home game. Not home, but it'll be more like. So I think that helps their case as well. I also think that since they've seen what Texas Tech can do on the defense, they probably score a little bit more on offense. But I'm still giving like Texas Tech winning this game. I want to say the final score is going to be like 30-14.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I could see that definitely happening. And then this is also just very interesting for playoffs. Texas Tech is already locked in for the 12-team playoff. If they win, they're definitely getting that first round bye, which last season was interesting. It was, is the bye helpful? Because the bye did not help anyone out last season.
No, literally every single person who had a bye lost.
Yes, and I'm like, "Is it a curse? I don't know. Do you want the first round bye? I wouldn't." I'm very superstitious, so I'm like, I don't know if I'd want that first round bye. I think if Texas Tech somehow gets just, like, blown out of the water, they'll still be in the playoffs, but,
Yeah.
they might not get that perfect seeding. Another interesting thing is, like, if BYU wins, they're in. And, like, bring it back to the SEC, if Bama loses, will Bama be out because BYU won?
Ooh, that's tough because Bama still has an argument, in my opinion, because they split the series with Georgia the same way that that's what it would be if BYU won this one. The problem is, does the I feel like the committee values more how you played in November than conference championships. And again, I think that Alabama still has an argument. Yeah, I think that's a great question. I really don't know. I think Georgia does end up winning, and not to like talk SEC championship, but I think that Georgia does end up winning this one. And so the committee, who already doesn't really know what to do with themselves, I think puts themselves in a tougher spot for sure.
Yes, it's definitely been chaos with the committee this season, and it's like, are you going to be punished for playing in your conference championship? Um, but without a win, BYU, they're probably out from the outside looking in. Um, and this way they'd get into a bowl game, but that's not what you want to see. Um, I'm very excited for this game. Even though I'm an SEC girl at heart, I have enjoyed watching Texas Tech this season. Um, but yeah.
Yeah, one last question for you, and then we can sign off. But of the Texas schools, since most of the other ones are in the SEC, do you think that Texas Tech is better than all of them?
No.
Who do you think's the best in Texas?
A&M.
Okay, okay. I would be very interested to see A&M and Texas Tech play, honestly, because I don't really know who I would say is better at this point. Had Texas A&M beat Texas, I would absolutely say A&M. And I know it's rivalry week and it's different, but I don't know, man, that was crazy.
I agree. I think it's probably my SEC bias coming out of I'm just like, "Oh, the SEC is gonna beat anyone." Um, but I mean, then you get into A&M's schedule and you're like, "Oh, they didn't have that tough of a schedule." But then I'm like, "Okay, but it's Texas Tech, like, who have they actually played?" And so, there's just so many
Yeah,
factors that go into it. But I mean, Texas is a loaded state. They've got good high school football, they've
yeah,
got good college football, they've got good NFL teams.
yeah,
So, Texas is a football state, and so it's definitely hard to say who's best.
totally understand. Any final thoughts before we sign off?
Uh, BYU, please lose so that Bama can get into the playoffs.
And here I am with my final thoughts of go Cougs. At the end of the day, it is my alma mater. So I will be rooting for them, but I just hope it's a more competitive game this time. So,
Yes, definitely.
yeah. Well, that is our recap thoughts on the Big 12 championship coming up this weekend. I know we usually talk SEC, but this does matter to the SEC because it depends who gets in based off of who wins. That's us signing off. Thanks for tuning in.